O'Connell, the quarterback whisperer per se. You let Sam Darnold walk out the door after throwing 35 touchdowns, just 12 interception, fellas. I'm thinking, okay, this brother better be something special because even though he was drafted, he didn't play a game last year because of the meniscus tear. So how is it, in God's name, are you placing this amount of faith in this dude that hasn't thrown a single NFL pass? You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison ultimately will be back in a few weeks, etc. I'm like, how the hell you make this decision? I got to see him. And in that fourth quarter, especially, J.J. McCarthy showed me something, no doubt about that. But this is the National Football League. You guys know it better than me. You get film. We get to watch you, see some of your habits, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see what you do as the season progresses. I don't think that that's the, we know definitively, but the bottom line is he put forth a good showing last night. I don't want to take anything away from him. He deserves all the credit in the world. But one game does not make a complete evaluation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you tripping, Stephen A. They got one.
Yes,
they got one. Yeah, they got one. And it's not even about the X's and O's or the physical traits or any of that stuff. It's the sports character of J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
I mean, think about what he did through the first three quarters of that game. He was absolutely abysmal. 7-12, 56 yards passing, a pick six, 35.4 passer rating, and a 4.6 QBR. Mm-hmm. That's about as bad as it can get. On the broadcast last night, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman talked about the game snowballing on them midway through the third quarter when they had a double-digit deficit. But that kid kept fighting. He kept playing. And it basically reminded all of us that J.J. McCarthy is a winner.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about winning a national title at Michigan. Right. I'm talking about his entire life.
Yes.
Since his sophomore year in high school, J.J. McCarthy is 64-3.
Yeah.
And that tells me that this kid has the intangibles, he has those innate leadership traits that make people around him believe in him, regardless of what the circumstances look like.
That's right.
And last night, it would have been easy for everybody on that Viking sideline to tap out, including the coaches. It would have been easy for the guys on defense to say, you know what, we only got 50 yards passing and 30 yards rushing through three quarters. It ain't going to happen for us tonight.
Yeah.
It would have been easy for Kevin O'Connell to say, you know what, let's just run the football and get out of here because we ain't going to get this one. It would have been easy for everybody to just say, you know what, we're not going to get it tonight. We'll regroup for week two.
But
they didn't do that. And the kid came out in the fourth quarter and was throwing dots.
Yeah.
I mean, their first third down conversion didn't come until the touchdown throw to Justin Jefferson at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Absolutely phenomenal from J.J. McCarthy. The first three quarters was bad, but the fact that the kid had the mental fortitude to fight through it and get on the other side of it, we saw him grow up in real time in his regular season debut.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think knowing that the training camp he went through the year before, right before the injury, and then to Stephen A's point about them letting go of Sam Darnold. What I loved about last night was after the pick six, he starts to let it rip. He has no back down. He's just like he bulls the neck, and some dudes shrink back and some guys don't. And you don't ever know until you get in that situation. And what they found last night was he ain't got any back down in him. He's going to step up, keep making throws. He's going to go find Justin Jefferson, which is every good quarterback should go do. He hit him on that out route, and all of a sudden you saw like the light turned on. He's like, I'm going to go. Then he comes back the very next play for the touchdown in double coverage and throws it into the hole in double coverage against them. So he started to trust his players, and you saw the players start to trust in him. I thought O'Connell did a fantastic job. They continued to run. Then he hits the Aaron Jones, which is a hard pass to a running back.
That's a hard
right?
Ball.
That's a running back. It's not a receiver. So the running back's turning back to make that catch. He puts the ball right where he should. So to your point, I think it is the intangibles. I think it's the it factor that we always talk about, but you never can put your finger on it until the lights are the brightest. That's what he showed to me last night.
It's real nice. And somebody that didn't play football, because I'm talking to two champions here, I could be very, very intimidated, but I'm Stephen A. That ain't going to happen. That's number one. Number two, you know what? Again, I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I listen to those who are. You know I listen to you every morning, terrorizing America at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know I'm watching you all the time. I've been working with you for years. I know the things that y'all said. To the level of consistency oozing out of y'all mouths right now, y'all are the ones that have repeatedly stated throughout the years, one game does not make a season, does not make a quarterback. I mean, it's nice to see somebody perform, but what about once the film is out? What about once they've got a chance to familiarize themselves with you and what you bring to the table? We've got to learn them. I didn't make that up. But somehow, some way,
Okay.
we gonna sit
But
here
let me
on
say
national
this.
television
No, no,
and
no.
act like y'all didn't tell me this.
Listen, I would tell you that is a very truthful comment, and, and I respect the heck out of it. This is where I would differ. O'Connell, to me, is the difference maker because he doesn't put quarterbacks in bad position. He's made Sam Darnold a household name. What, they went 14 last year?
14-2 before they nosed out the last two games.
But as you look at what he's capable of doing, that's why you have so much faith in McCarthy, is because it's the tandem. It's not just he's got to go do it. He has a coach, and he's got Josh McCown, who's another rising coach in the ranks, who is a fantastic guy, and helping him come along. I think that's why I would say I have more trust in a one-game snapshot than typically I would say.
And the talent surrounding him too.
Oh,
no doubt about that.
No doubt.
And I know you're right about the pedigree because I mean, listen, national championship when they won the national championship in Michigan a couple of years ago, he was third in QBR behind Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix for crying out loud. So we know that
he's a dude.
We know he's got those intangibles. I'm looking at size. I'm looking at arm strength. I'm looking at the quickness of the release. I'm looking at pocket presence. I'm looking at those things too because again, we're listening to y'all, hearing how y'all evaluate quarterbacks. That's what I do when I'm watching. You say if you didn't play, that's what you got to do. You got to listen to the cats that have. Very badly, though.
Yeah,
we see them hit it.
But I don't think anybody is going into this year thinking that the Minnesota Vikings are actually going to win the Lombardi Trophy this year.
Okay.
More impressed with O'Connell or McCarthy in that comeback?
Ooh, I'd have to say McCarthy. I mean, he's done something that we quite literally have not seen before. Double-digit deficit on the road in your regular season debut.
Right.
And you end up scoring 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You threw 2 in, pretty nice throws, both of them. And then you ran one in on a designed quarterback run. From a physical standpoint, there's nothing that J.J. McCarthy can't do at the quarterback position.
And in prime time.
It's a great question. I would say this. Like, what I loved about what O'Connell did is not only did they let it rip offensively, he got Brian Flores. They picked it up in the second half. They started blitzing the daylights out of Caleb Williams. They just were like, look, we're not going to get run out of here. We're going to go down swinging. They got super aggressive on defense. They ran the ball very well in the second half, which helped McCarthy kind of come along. So I loved what McCarthy did. O'Connell set him up to be successful for sure.
We'll leave it there. He's got another primetime game next week because they're going to play the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. The Vikes are favored by 4.5. Speaking of Caleb Williams, so he started off the game firing on all cylinders. Wasn't able to sustain the success. After completing 13 of his 16 passes in the first half, Williams finished the game with an NFL worst off-target rate of 29% in Week 1. Canty, encouraged or discouraged by Caleb after what you saw last night?
I think you have to be encouraged, even though there are some things that he certainly needs to improve on. You saw some of the movement skills that we got at USC and at Oklahoma on display.
Yeah.
That dart that he threw to Rome Odunze, he's rolling out to his right down the sideline.
In
the red zone.
Bullet.
Let me tell you something, Molly. There's only a handful of quarterbacks that can make that throw. That's special. Right, the touchdown run, the ability to be able to manipulate the pocket early on. I thought he was great in that regard. He needs to be more consistent in terms of trusting what he sees, Stephen A. There are some wide open receivers that he missed down the field. There were some shots. I'm thinking of the skinny post to Romo Dunze in the second quarter.
Yeah.
You got to hit that throw. It's wide open. And Ben Johnson spoke to it in the post-game press conference saying that there were some plays that they had dialed up where there should have been completions and it just didn't happen for the offense. So that's the good. So there's a lot of positives to build on. Here's the bad, Molly. The plays that Caleb Williams has when he doesn't understand when the journey is over, when the play is over, become problematic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the intentional grounding that he got at the end of the third quarter that led to a Cairo Santos missed field goal.
Yeah.
Those types of things can't happen. Caleb Williams has got to be better in terms of trying to play within structure and hitting his back foot and getting the ball out on time. Well, we saw that when he was on script through the first 15 in the first quarter. When he got off script, things went off the rails.
I'm going to go with encourage as the answer to this question, but I also want to show the word compassion, I think, is appropriate here. This dude is in his second year. He played all 17 games last year. Last night, he scored his first rushing touchdown of his career. He played all 17 games last year, opener last night. His second year in the league. This is his third head coach and his fourth offensive coordinator.
That's crazy.
I mean, come on.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I said we got to look at it from that standpoint too. And then last but not least, here's what we got to take into consideration. I know he only completed after going 6 for 6 to start the game or whatever. He completed 11 to 25 passes, only 44% of his passes the rest of the way. That was a Brian Flores defense.
That's right. And they started rushing him. They started rushing 7 mil on the line of scrimmage.
And you got one of the elite defensive minds, because that's what Brian Flores is.
Absolutely.
That can confuse you a bit and throw some stuff at you that you may not have seen before. And not only that, Brian Flores was coaching against, Ben Johnson last year.
Right.
So he's very familiar with who he's going up against. And now instead of Jared Goff, you got Caleb Williams behind center with not the same kind of weapons. Even though Chicago's got some weapons, they don't have Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, along with Gibbs and along with Montgomery and along with Laporta. I mean, you don't have those kind of weapons. So you got Ben Johnson, who you kind of know what he wants to do. And you got a squad in terms of personnel that's inferior to what you had to coach against before.
Why are you making that face? Because it sounds like excuses, or are you buying it?
No, I'm buying what Stephen A. is saying, but I wish he'd take it a step further, because he's going someplace that I think we need to talk about a little bit today.
Which is?
Nobody is talking about how Ben Johnson, sliding over from coordinator to head coach, had some growing pains last night.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about that now, because Ben Johnson, we thought he had it all figured out in the first quarter when they were on script through the first 15. But what he didn't realize was Brian Flores was playing chess, not checkers.
That's right.
Okay?
In the long game.
Exactly. Because in the first quarter, guess what? Brian Flores only sent one blitz toward Caleb Williams on all those dropbacks. One blitz.
Yeah.
In the remainder of the game, Brian Flores blitzed him 14 times.
That's right.
The blitz rate went from 29% to 44% from the first half to the second half. And Ben Johnson did not have a counterpunch to the adjustments that B-Flow made.
Correct.
And then also, another thing, the gaffe at the end of the game with Cairo Santos kicking the ball in the end zone and letting them return it and not getting a 2-minute warning at the timeout.
That's right.
You got to kick the damn ball out of bounds. That's on the head coach. So there are some things that Ben Johnson left to be desired. I know a lot of the focus will be on Caleb Williams, but Ben Johnson need to have some heat up under his seat right now, too.
For sure. Some of that I'll agree with. I'll say this, though. There were answers, and Caleb missed some throws to some wide-open receivers against the blitz, right? The wide open, you got to hit that for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. You got a guy screaming down the sideline. The hookup right before it in the middle of the field. So there were answers. He got guys open. The difference, I think, from Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams versus McCarthy and O'Connell is this. They've only got about 5 or 6 months together. He has to untrain, to Stephen A's point, a year plus of organizational failure from the Bears to what he did as a quarterback. So all those habits, you and I both know, those habits are hard to break. And when things start to go chaotic, you tend to fall back to those. I think that's where Ben Johnson and the development that he'll have for Caleb Williams will put him in that same category, because we've seen him do it with Jared Goff. But it does take time. And again, Minnesota ran the ball much better than Chicago did in the second half. There were a lot of things that helped the quarterback look better. But Caleb missed some of the throws that I think Ben did have some stuff open. He's got to make, those are the ones that you'll go back to film and go, hey, as a QB, you make those, and as a head coach, I won't do those things, right? So both and.
I appreciate the insight, and both of y'all know. But here's the thing. I'm looking at this guy, Declan Doyle, is that his name? I mean, who the hell is this guy? That's your offensive coordinator, right? Yeah. First-time offensive coordinator. Was a tight ends coach in Denver over the last 2 years. So you got a first-time coordinator. Okay, you got a first-time head coach.
Right.
Okay, it's your fourth head coach in a season and a game, because it ain't even 2 full seasons. A season and a game, 18 games.
That's right.
4 offensive coordinators and 3 head coaches. That's a lot.
Absolutely.
For a young quarterback to deal with, which is why I would go back to Ben Johnson as well, because knowing what I just highlighted, it's even more of the onus on Ben Johnson, because you know what the kid is dealing with.
And Stephen A., when he took the job, Ben Johnson said, the first thing that he needed to do was make sure that the quarterback and the play caller saw the game through the same eyes.
Right.
That's the first thing that he said. So when we start talking about
Caleb, the coordinator or the quarterback and the coordinator.
No, the quarterback and the play caller.
Got it.
Right.
The play caller see the game through the same eyes.
Right.
And so when we start talking about all of these open receivers that Caleb Williams missed, and I admit it, he missed some open receivers. That's also on the coach.
Right.
Like he's got to help he's got to help those guys. And all of that being said, Stephen A., with everything stacked up against Caleb Williams, you still had a double-digit lead at home against the division opponent in the fourth quarter, going up against a quarterback who had never started an NFL game before. You got to find a way to be able to win that game.
Yeah.
Which is about your defense, because Dennis Allen, a former defensive coordinator, a former head coach who's now back to being the defensive coordinator. Right. You got to find a way to get at McCarthy and shut that, because he's a rookie. Yeah. That's what he is. He's rookie. You got to find a way to shut him down and prevent him, especially with Jordan Addison not being out there.
Yeah.
You got to be able to pull that off.
Caleb Williams, I will say this about him as well. After they were down, him taking it down and scoring was a big deal. Like, he responded as well. Again, he's not in charge of special teams, what happens afterwards, but he did give his team a chance, right? He scores. Now they're down by 3. You hold them, you get a chance to go tie the game, possibly win the game. Unfortunately, don't work out that way, but I like the response by Caleb Williams.
Let's see how he responds week 2, Detroit Lions. That one's at 1 Eastern. Ben Johnson against his former team. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, if there's ever been a must-win for both teams.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What it feels like.
Exactly.
What feels
this
like.
is personal.
Right, let's stay in the NFC. I got a quick take for you guys. The 49ers will be without star tight end George Kittle for a few weeks. He's dealing with a hamstring. They could also be without Brock Purdy this weekend against the Saints as the quarterback deals with a left shoulder and a toe injury. Stephen A., how concerned are you by this?
Well, you got to be concerned, okay? Because Brandon Ayuk, ACL, MCL, he's not expected back. He's not starting out the season. He's been on the PUP list. Now you're hearing about Purdy and his shoulder and his toe. They're worried more about his toe than his shoulder. Right. So much so that they're questioning whether or not he's going to be available this Sunday. And, of course, your tight end spot, Kittles, is out. All right, so you got Ayuk out, you got your quarterback hurt, you got your tight end out, okay? And then remember, Deebo Samuel is no longer there. He's in Washington. So there's a lot to be concerned about. We've been talking about the 49ers for the longest time, and they've been knocking on the door before they finally, missed out last year due to injuries. At some point in time, you got to look at them and wonder when that window is closed.
That's right.
We can rave about Kyle Shanahan all we want to, and he deserves it outside of his Super Bowl performances, because we know that leaves a lot to be desired. But outside of the actual Super Bowl performance in terms of his coaching, the man has been elite on every level leading up to the Super Bowl. But you got to give him the personnel. C-Mac is, he was out there, and one minute he's hurt, another minute he's healthy.
That's where I was going. Is you got McCaffrey as well, like all your dudes, and you went in with these guys, right? You went in with Purdy. You got McCaffrey's got a huge. All these guys, and it's like. They're kind of aging before you. Yeah, they're getting banged up. The availability is the greatest ability in football. And if you ain't got those guys, I don't care how good your team is. Right. The guy behind you ain't as good as the guy in the front.
C-Mac missed 10 games 3 of the last 5 seasons.
Exactly. That does not give you the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, but that's what the money is for. That's why they paid Brock Purdy.
I get
to overcome the injuries.
But he's hurt.
His own and everybody else's. Right? He had the game-winning drive in Seattle late. Kudos to him, even though it felt like a prayer in the end zone on 4th down.
Felt like. Was.
I'm just going to say this.
Hey, he's living right.
They better hope that Brock Purdy can come in and play. Yeah. Even though they got the Saints in week 2, Mac Jones can lose to anybody.
Yeah.
Chris Canty doesn't play. And coming up, he's known to drop a take or two in his day. Wait until you hear his take on Josh Allen.
Oh, Lord.
Following his epic comeback over the Ravens. Canty